set to go at Rexall Place, but before we get started, we'll listen in on tonight's Keys to the Game is brought to you by Honda. With those, Ducks assistant coach Trent Yawney, who's standing by with the pride of Regina, Julie Stewart-Binks.
Well, thank you so much, Johnny. I appreciate that. Trent, less than 24 hours ago, your defense was playing well on both sides of the puck. How do you maintain that form in the second game of a back-to-back?
Well, keep breaking out clean. I thought we did a much better job breaking out against Calgary than we have in a long time, and when you do that, you spend less time in your zone.
Thanks, Trent. Good luck tonight.
Thank you.
Back to you, Johnny.
Thank you, Julie. The referees for tonight's game are Garrett Rank and Mark Jeanette. Don Henderson and Derek Amell will handle the lines, and the Ducks will go against Ben Scrivens. A couple of goaltenders, Brian, who are playing both ends of the back-to-back.
Yeah, the Oilers played yesterday, did not play well. They got drubbed 4-0 by the Minnesota Wild. The Wild are really coming on right now. And for the Ducks, to me, this is about the forecheck and reestablishing that. The Oilers, their weakness certainly starts back on the blue line, and you want to put as much pressure on this defense as you possibly can.
The Oil in their home blues with orange numbers, the Ducks in the road whites with black numbers, and we're underway. Glad to have you along. A little early on a Saturday afternoon. And it's fired in off the end boards. It ricochets off the back of the net. Defended by John Gibson. Shoveled right in front. And in the slot, finally, Emerson Edom comes up with it and works it to the perimeter. Edom back in the lineup after a healthy scratch last night. Nudges it into the Edmonton zone. Kessler gets it back to him. Knocked off his stick. Edom stays with it as Derek Roy was all over him, and I believe we got a penalty coming up. A hook is going to be called against the Oilers just 41 seconds in.
And it will be Derek Roy, the guilty party here. He'll sit for the next couple of minutes. Good work by Emerson Edom, who's getting a chance to play with Ryan Kessler and Corey Perry at the start of tonight's game. He keeps the legs moving, and that's the key. And there's the contact with the hands. So the referees send an early message, John, that they're going to call this one tight. That was a kind of a ticky-tack little call against Derek Roy.
Anaheim on the power play, and they score right off the draw. Boschman on a face-off win just lets it go, and it beats Scrivens to the glove side.
When you're hot, you're hot. And
Absolutely.
Right now, Francois Beauchemin coming off a sensational game last night in Calgary. Obviously, he's feeling it. Good job by Kyle Palmieri, who gets in and taps it back. And you know what? We talked about last night Andrew Cogliano, a smaller, fast speed player, getting to the front of the net and being rewarded. This time it's Jakob Silfverberg that sets the screen in front on Ben Scrivens. He never saw that puck released off the stick of Beauchemin.
So the Ducks score in the game's first minute. 2 goals in the last 2 games for Francois Beauchemin. Actually 3 now in his last 10. And the Ducks lead 1-0. Anaheim has 3 power play goals against Edmonton in just 7 chances in the season series. And a 1-0 lead. One of the face-off win. And a very struggling penalty-killing unit for Edmonton. Wasn't on the ice very long, and they give up another goal. Now the trailer is Lindholm, and Scrivens holds his bid.
Wide open. 4th man in on the rush. The Oilers over back check, and Lindholm slides into a soft area. Congratulations to Francois Beauchemin, who has now passed Oleg Tverdovsky and sits 2nd all-time on the points by a defenseman list in Anaheim Ducks franchise history.
He's got 3 goals, 4 points in his last 5 games. Josh Manson can't get the shot through. That one hits Silfverberg. And the Ducks keep the pressure on. Manson slides it over. And Eric Brewer, who draws back into the lineup, teamed with Manson, throws it down deep.
Brewer in. Clayton Stoner out with a lower body injury tonight. So a chance for Eric to get a little bit of action and to show the coaching staff what he can do.
Anaheim scoring just 4 seconds into the power play. And they lead 1-0. Cogliano battles along the boards in the corner. It's in his feet, and he serves it back to Manson. He walks the line over for Brewer. Into the middle, Silfverberg off his stick, but Manson is there to support. Thrown down low, and finally dug out by Matt Hendricks. Back come the Oilers. Hendricks with an errant pass onto the wing, and stepping up was Marincin, who feeds it all the way down.
A good chip by Anaheim. They bottled the Edmonton Oilers up deep. And as a result, Edmonton has, it's all they can do, get the puck out and then change.
Thompson sends it across, and Brewer gets center red before sweeping it in. Andrew Ferentz hit by Jackman as he goes behind the net, and he turns it over. Smith-Pelly keeps it in. Devante on a line with Tim Jackman and Nate Thompson to begin tonight's game. He was on the second line with Ryan Kessler last night in Calgary. Klinkhammer trying to get it to the Anaheim net, and I believe we got a penalty coming up against Anaheim for a slash.
The shrapnel is lying to the right of John Gibson, the broken stick.
Nate Thompson will get the gate. I believe it was Klinkhammer's stick that he destroyed.
Rob Klinkhammer just re-upped with the Oilers, signed a one-year extension. Similar type contract that the Ducks rewarded Tim Jackman with. Middle of the screen, there's the chop. And the stick just shatters in half.
So early power plays for both teams as Thompson goes off at 2:52. The Edmonton power play has been hot of late. 7 of 20, 35% in their last 7 games. Justin Schultz trying to get it into the middle. It comes through. Eberle had an entire net to shoot at, and it was blocked.
Lovejoy makes the block. If he's not there, that puck's in the back of the net. John Gibson had no idea where that puck was. And
he was looking to his left.
Yeah, there was half a net.
So a break for the Ducks. And a good play by Lovejoy. And here's a turnover. Short-handed breakaway for Jakob Silfverberg. Fired it wide.
He went for one of his favorite spots. High glove. Just missed his shot.
Purcell sends it ahead off the stick of Benoit Pouliot. He chases in behind the Anaheim goal. Around to Teddy Purcell. And his pass picked off by Silfverberg, who deflects it all the way back. Scrivens says, I don't want to see you on another breakaway. And then he turns the puck over. Smith-Pelly fired it over top.
What a crazy game, man. That's an empty net this time for the Ducks.
Brewer's shot hit Smith-Pelly, and a good pad save by Scrivens. Scrivens was his own worst enemy on that play. I mean, he was just baiting Silfverberg, and he ended up turning the puck over.
Yeah, like a lot of defensemen in the defensive zone, I always cringe a little bit when I see goaltenders go to the backhand side. That's when you get yourself into so much trouble.
30 seconds left in the penalty to Nate Thompson as the Oilers start from behind their own net. Oscar Klefbom in the neutral zone. They turned it over again. Silfverberg tried to make a pass. Gibson stops it behind the net and is just hammered around and out by Francois Beauchemin. Beauchemin has the only goal of the game, his 6th of the season, and his second on the power play came just 45 seconds in from Raquel and Silfverberg. Well, Rickard Raquel has assists in 3 straight games now and 15 points in his last 18 games. Nice play by Gibson as he gave it to Beauchemin. And the puck reversed around as Thompson comes out of the box. He gets it from Perry. His pass, however, deflected, so Perry gets a piece of the Beauchemin feed, and that's in the netting above the high glass behind Scrivens.
Well, the Oilers were on the power play. Jordan Eberle had the puck on the point, then he slid down in the middle. Look at John Gibson. He had no idea where that puck was, and Ben Lovejoy makes a great defensive play. And Jakob Silfverberg, partial breakaway for him. He's thinking top glove, misses by about a foot. Ben Scrivens, don't go to the backhand side, Ben. When you do, you turn a lot of pucks over.
Scrivens, a product of Cornell. A few good goalies come out of Cornell, haven't there?
There was one really good one. His name was Ken Dryden.
Getzlaf feeds it back in. I tried to help you. He just won't go there. Getzlaf to Maroon, who had 2 assists in the win at Calgary last night. He's pinned to the boards by Martin Marincin, and now fights free. All the way across to Lovejoy, and a right pad save made by Scrivens.
The points are wide open in this game. In Edmonton, they're trying to jam it up in front of the net and really protect the house, but there's a lot of open ice available to the Duck point net in particular in this game.
Kessler, Perry, and Edom out for Anaheim as the Oilers control out of their own zone. Sent deep, Gibson wanders to play it and puts it right back from where it came. Kessler tries this side, and Perry forced back by Oscar Klefbom. The Swedish native forced to retreat defensively as Brewer headmans and Emerson Edom steams into the Edmonton zone. Hits the brakes, Justin Schultz on him there, but he keeps it alive. Perry walks in front. Back to Edom. His backhander didn't make it to the net. And Eberle feeds it back the other way. Both teams will go for changes. And Brewer under no duress as he picks it up behind the Anaheim goal.
Well, the Edmonton faithful are not going to be happy here, John. The Oilers did not have a good game last game. They have yet to record a shot on goal against John Gibson.
And that includes having a full 2-minute power play opportunity. Here comes Nail Yakupov on right wing into the Anaheim zone. Lindholm loses an edge. Yakupov steps in front and loses the puck. Calm as a cucumber. Gibson is there to cover it up as Yakupov is sent sprawling. Less than a minute into the game and 4 seconds into a power play. Francois Beauchemin gave the Ducks the lead. Well, Corey Perry hits a milestone tonight as well. It's not just Andrew Cogliano. 700 games, all as a Duck for Corey Perry, and you see the numbers, all very impressive. He's number 2 all-time in franchise history, a little ways behind the number 1 man, Teemu Selanne. Ryan Getzlaf not far behind as they sit 2 and 3 on the all-time games played list.
And Perry and Getzlaf really are kind of like the Sedin twins, aren't they? In terms of their production, games played, very, very similar. Growing up together, essentially, with his Anaheim franchise.
They have changed the assist. One of the assists on the Beauchemin goal. They've taken an assist away from Silverberg, and Kyle Palmieri gets it as Thompson rips it wide. So it's now Beauchemin from Palmieri and Raquel.
See how active those end boards are. Nate Thompson's shot goes about a foot wide. Well read by the goaltender there.
Lindholm dusts it off and gets a tip on his shot from Jackman. Scrivens able to make the stop. Anaheim with a 6-1 shot advantage in the early going, and they have a 1-0 lead. Beauchemin angles it off the boards. Thompson sweeps it ahead, but it's intercepted, and here's Yakupov. 7 points in his last 7 games, but he turns it over. Francois Beauchemin at the end of a shift didn't have any momentum, so he just chips it back.
Boy, he had Yakupov in his sights.
Maroon cycles it back to the point, and Lovejoy spins it around. Getzlaf with a lot of room out of the corner. Had a wide-open Fowler, and the pass tipped away.
John, and again, it's the Ducks are seeing that the defensive zone coverage is an issue for the Oilers. Point men are sneaking down now all the time.
Lovejoy tried to angle it off the end boards. Palmieri tripped up as he comes in front. Lovejoy comes up with it, and his shot was deflected wide. Maroon knocked down below the goal line. He helps an Oiler to join him. And the loose puck picked up by Matt Hendricks. Former Washington Capital is off to the races. Hendricks will pursue it as it's dumped in, but Gibson is out to play it away. Off the skate of Getzlaf to the line, not out. Kept in. Pakarinen with a shot that went over top of the net off a deflection, and it's just angled out by Palmieri. Mark Fane tries to turn it back in. Marincin off his stick. And he did not touch it with his stick. I beg your pardon. So icing instead the call. Well, a reminder, stay with us throughout the broadcast. Coming up a little bit later on tonight, we'll offer you a cold one from our good friends at Miller Lite. We call it Miller Time as we look back at one of the key moments in the hockey game.
Territorially, Anaheim has had a great start to this game. They spent an awful lot of time working the puck down low along the boards, and the Ducks started to get back to that last night against Calgary, back to their forechecking ways, and they're at it again here in the early going.
What a battle in the face-off circle as Kessler just kept going after Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, who had fallen, and now he helps Nugent-Hopkins to the ice in the corner at the other end. Back to the line. Fane slides it over. Marincin's wrist shot never makes it through. Swept out of harm's way by Brewer, who angles it out. Fane sends it right back in, and the Oilers go for defensive changes. Josh Manson battling along the near boards. Eberle digs it free as it comes in front. Brewer puts it behind the net. Pouliot had Nugent-Hopkins for a split second in front. Instead, he puts it to the point. And Klefbom's shot is gloved by Gibson.
No problem for Gibson. A wide open lane for him to locate that point shot. The Oilers have been tweaking their lineup a little bit tonight. Pouliot draws in with Nugent-Hopkins and Eberle on the top line. And I think Bruce Boudreau, who be very satisfied with the matchup that he was able to negotiate there, getting Ryan Kessler out there to oppose them.
Pouliot has missed a good portion of the season. He had a foot injury. He's been limited to just 37 games. He's even, however, as Klinkhammer trying to wrap around is denied by Gibson. So the Oilers with a little pressure, something they hadn't had the first 9 minutes or so. But they still trail the Ducks 1-0. Well, there are the happy Duck fans, Mariella and Luke Spencer, auction winners who have made the trip with the Ducks and brought some good luck with them. They had the full Hockey Canadian experience earlier today.
Yeah, Luke was able to get out on the ice at a local outdoor rink, put the blades on, brought his stick to the skates. I love that. And I'm sure Mariella was able probably to sip on little Tim Hortons and watch her boy play hockey for the very first time on an outdoor rink.
Yeah, that's great. She probably stayed indoors and stayed warm. It was about 14 degrees Fahrenheit today on a sunny February day in Edmonton. And as we mentioned, it's pretty mild by Edmonton February standards. Gazdic shovels it ahead, and a backhander by Rob Klinkhammer is held by Gibson. Coming up tonight on Fox Sports Live, a full preview from the track as NASCAR gets ready for their Super Bowl. The Daytona 500 is tomorrow. Mariota or Winston? Who threw better at the NFL Combine? And which Broncos star could be on their way out in Denver? Fox Sports Live tonight on Fox Sports 1 and streaming live on Fox Sports Go.
It's been a relatively uneventful period for John Gibson. He's fielded a lot of shots, mostly from the perimeter. Filled out by his defenseman Ben Lovejoy on that one opportunity on the power play.
25 saves last night for Gibson in the win at Calgary. His 4th win of the season. This is his 10th appearance of this year. He only played, I believe, in 11 games at the AHL level this season. So all of a sudden, some regular activity for John Gibson. There's a good look at Rob Klinkhammer. He's had a couple of opportunities here in the last few shifts. What a year it's been for him, Brian. He began the year with the Arizona Coyotes, was dealt in early December to Pittsburgh, and a month later, he's part of the deal that saw David Perron go to the Penguins, and he finds himself here in Edmonton. 3 teams in about 4 months.
Just had a young son born not so long ago, a couple of days ago, as a matter of fact. So you bet it's been an eventful year for him.
Yeah, for Klinkhammer, tonight marks his 20th game in an Oilers sweater. Still looking for his first goal. Come up with a couple of assists. Derek Roy gloves the puck down and leads it back the other way, and here come the Oilers. In the Anaheim zone, Yakupov heads to the net, and it's knocked away by Getzlaf as Roy got it back from Purcell.
I think Getzlaf was looking for a hooking call there as he had the puck in the middle of the ice.
Quick hands of Getzlaf pulls it off the boards and clears the zone. Jackman on the forecheck as Anaheim is in mid-change. Smith-Pelly picks it off, had to wait for Jackman to get onside. 8:25 to go, first period in Edmonton. Shots are 7-4 in favor of Anaheim. The top road team in the entire National Hockey League entering tonight's action. The Ducks have garnered 38 points away from home so far this year. To put that in perspective, the Oilers only have 44 points. Smith-Pelly trying to kick it up as he comes out of the zone. Jackman follows up as he knocked Hendricks down. Now he'll get a good hit on Schultz, who moves it away, and Clefbaum under duress, and he turns it over. Loose puck that Jackman from his knees couldn't quite reach. And the Oilers live to see another day as Hendricks brings it back to center.
Yeah, any opportunity the Ducks have to put a good bump on Justin Schultz, they will do that. Schultz is the guy that is a dangerous defender that likes to join the rush.
Well, the Oilers, emblematic of young teams, turn the puck over a lot, too. They're the 3rd most giveaways in the National Hockey League. Anaheim's going to try to help them along with that. Edom with a good bump, and there's a turnover. Brewer from the line, blocked as Pouliot went down in front of it.
It's an awkward-looking block.
Yeah, sure
that
was.
time. Pouliot got the job done, however.
Kessler whips it cross ice. It's tipped past Josh Manson. Brewer, nice pass off the boards. Kessler drops it back. Edom coming with speed, and he can't get the backhander to the net. Oilers start back. Luke Gazdic gets it in, and a quick shot sticked away off the stick of Gibson and into the netting.
Bruce Boudreau was very pleased with the way the game unfolded last night in Calgary. It was a funny game in that both Calgary goals, they took the 2-0 lead in that game, were the direct result of real glaring turnovers from Anaheim. But it didn't seem to faze the Ducks at all. They just kept coming.
An area pass that Cogliano ran down, and his pass across for Silverberg too hot to handle. Klinkhammer to the net, and the shot off the wing is held by Gibson as Boyd Gordon gets it on net. Anaheim, boy, you remember, Brian, when they couldn't win not only in this building, but they had trouble with the Oilers in general. You look at those numbers, and it tells you it's been a long time.
Yeah, there have been a lot of people that have had similar type success against the Edmonton Oilers as of late. The Oilers, again, in the running for a very, very high draft pick this year.
Dead last in the Pacific and in the West. Only the Buffalo Sabres have fewer points than do the Oilers, as Teddy Purcell's bid off the faceoff becomes a souvenir.
Well, John, in the pregame show, we were talking about this personnel overhaul that the Oilers have undergone this year. A ton of new faces in the lineup. Craig McTavish, the general manager, was saying the other day that he is not going to trade one of his much sought-after young talented pieces like Eberle and Nugent Hopkins. Sam Gagner was the guy, the young player that they unloaded during the offseason this year. But for the most part, McTavish says he likes the direction the team is going in. He's added a bunch of veteran journeyman-type players to give the kids a little bit of support. And he wants to do it the right way. Most importantly, he says he's going to leave their best young prospects in the American Hockey League to develop rather than rush them into the National Hockey League like they have been doing in so many years past.
You touched on it in the pregame. Players like Darnell Nurse and Leon Draisaitl, who we saw here the first two times these teams met this year, now find themselves back where they should be, developing in junior and at lower levels, as Gibson steps out to make the save on a shot from outside the blue line. 1-0 Anaheim, just under 6 to go in the first.
Well, the Oilers are without the services of one of their more experienced blue liners, Jeff Petrie. Here's what happened to him. The game against the Boston Bruins a couple of games ago, took a slap shot, caught him in the ribs. And what's interesting about this is that Jeff Petrie is one of the Edmonton players on an expiring contract, and of course every season those types of players garner an awful lot of attention at the trade deadline. He's a right-handed shot defenseman, but it complicates the matter a little bit, the fact that he is not playing because of the injury that was a result of that shot.
Also out of the lineup tonight is Keith Awley, one of the more physical presences on that Edmonton defense. Jordan Osterley is making his NHL debut on the blue line here tonight for Edmonton. Put on that third pairing. Right now it's Clefbaum out there, along with Justin Schultz, as the Ducks block a shot and clear the zone. This alley-oop that Palmieri won't be able to run down, so as a result, icing is the call. Let's update our American Honda 3-star leaderboard again. After last night's action, Andrew Cogliano was the #1 star of the game in Calgary. Ryan Getzlaf was the #3 star, so add a point for the captain, and he nudges a little closer to Frederik Andersen. And Getzlaf steps in to take the draw. Nugent Hopkins wins it to Eberle, and again his shot is blocked. That broke the stick of Palmieri, who now tries to defend out high without one. Getzlaf cuts in front of his own net, makes a move, and gets some support from Lovejoy. Getzlaf just keeps going, though. Into the zone, finds a trailer. Fowler hands it off. Maroon's shot saved by Scrivens.
Yeah, again, Cam Fowler, he's doing a nice job in really picking his spots and when to join the rush here.
Getzlaf was back defensively, taps it ahead. Palmieri with a new stick, and that didn't miss by much. Partially deflected by an Edmonton defender. I think it was Clefbaum that got a piece of that. Fane comes over the boards along with Marincin defensively as Edom gets it into the Edmonton zone, knocked off his stick, and Ryan Hamilton plays it back. Puckarinen sends it in. Eero Puckarinen giving a rough ride as he goes behind the Anaheim goal. Boschman knocks him down. The Finnish native in just his 15th NHL game. Spent 5 years in the Finnish Elite League. Was originally drafted by the Florida Panthers.
You know, people have wondered over the years why teams like the Oilers that are rebuilding don't go to the Finnish League and add a bunch of veteran players, because the Finns are typically very responsible defensively. They play a rough and tumble style. They don't score an awful lot of goals. But if you're a team in a rebuilding mode, something to think about for sure.
Corey Perry lost his stick in the referee down below the goal line. He looks a little exasperated as he goes back to get one. They're possessing the puck deep in the offensive zone. Wow, break for Scrivens as he spits that one right out in front of his own net. Fortunate for Edmonton that the Ducks were changing. Brewer chases all the way back in his own zone. Reverses it. And Devontae Smith-Pelly supports. He takes a bump from Luke Gazdic and then heads up right wing. Gazdic went for a change and Smith-Pelly nearly gets to it. Jackman fires it wide across the empty slot, and Klinkhammer able to nudge it out of the zone. Lovejoy forced it back in, and Thompson touched it before he touched up.
Well, moments ago, Ryan Getzlaf was under pressure in the defensive zone. And watch the big horse keep the legs moving here, and those hands, boy, he gets away from some pretty significant pressure and then throws it into the middle, and that was the play where Fowler dished it off Pat Maroon. A pretty good bid. Didn't create any problems that time for Ben Scrivens.
Scrivens comes into tonight with goals against him 3.01 and a save percentage of .895. And I've noticed some pretty good-sized rebounds coming off of him. He hasn't been able to possess the puck cleanly, even at times when he's gone back to play it behind the net. There's some poor checking pressure here from the Oilers. And Purcell gets it right to the goal mouth. Gibson tries to close the legs on it. Derek Roy knocked it loose. Yakupov to the corner. Back for Purcell, and his pass broken up by Silverberg, who got in the passing lane. Raquel can't carry it out. Here's Derek Roy for Yakupov, and his shot deflected wide by Lovejoy. Boy, Ben Lovejoy has been Johnny on the spot on a couple of occasions here in the first period.
He sure has been. And the Ducks guilty of a couple of turnovers there in the D zone, created opportunities.
3 abreast come the Oil, and Purcell's shot is blocked. Silverberg coming back into the play, angles it out. Anaheim needs a change. They'll get one. Ryan Nugent-Hopkins puts his shoulder down, tries to get inside on Maroon, trickles it deep into the Anaheim zone, and Boschman knifes it away from him. Maroon has it taken away by Eberle. His centering pass picked off by Palmieri. He'll get a second chance to try to clear. Getzlaf battles it to the boards, and Palmieri can't get it past Marincin at the line. Finally, it ricochets out center, and Nugent-Hopkins trying to settle things down. 2 minutes to go in a scrambly first period.
I was going to say, we'll give him a hot potato just inside the Anaheim blue line.
Shots are even at 8 apiece. These teams will meet one more time in early April at Honda Center. Boschman back to get it. As the Oilers go for changes, Maroon gets the legs moving, and Matt Hendricks takes it off his stick. Oilers go on the road after this. Their next game will be Tuesday at Minnesota. The Ducks return home Monday to host the Red Wings. Centering pass tipped back to the line. Andrew Ferentz holds it in for Hendricks. Down low, he hits the referee. Down goes the referee. And Ferentz pinches up the wall. Boschman intercepts, but he gives it right back. Hendricks to Ferentz with a drive. Gibson, I don't think ever saw it, but he makes the save and covers up.
Well, best pressure of the game for the Oilers, and they forced the Ducks into a couple pucks up where they had possession, weren't able to exit the defensive zone. Good play by Gibson, and most importantly, able to cover up the rebound. Here was that Derek Roy opportunity. Boy, for some reason, all he had to do, he was actually behind John Gibson. He had lots of space on the short side. Looked like he elected to pull it back into the middle in an attempt to maybe deke the netminder.
Roy came over 24 games ago from the Nashville Predators in a deal for Mark Arcabello. He's picked it up of late, 3 points in his last 4 games. You mentioned the chemistry with Nail Yakupov that Roy has brought to the table. This is a veteran centerman. Roy, in his 11th season now with his 5th different team.
Well, it's the first time, John, ever since we've seen Nail Yakupov burst on the scene that we've actually heard that they've found a guy that seems to really read Yakupov exceptionally well.
Yakupov still comes into tonight plus 20, or excuse me, minus 28 on the plus-minus rating. The last 2 years combined, Yakupov is minus 61. In his 3rd NHL season, still trying to find the other side of the ledger. Less than a minute to go in the period as Schultz gets it to the net. Pops straight up in the air off of Gibson, and the only player who saw it was Josh Manson. And he's able to force it out of the zone. Here comes Kessler. Roy all over him. He gets it to the net, and a good job at the far post as Schultz kept Emerson Edom at bay.
I thought the referee had his arm up, and then he decided maybe an indication of a high stick.
Lovejoy from behind the Anaheim goal headmans to Edom, and he rims it around and in. Now 10 seconds left in the opening period. Comes into the middle, and Edom just trying to get it to the net. Perry taps it back to him. Fowler will jump in, realizing there's very little time left. He rims it around, and that'll do it. As the opening period comes to a close, it started fast for the Ducks, and they'll take the lead to the locker room as a result.
First half of the period, Anaheim looked crisp and clean, and they were exiting the defensive zone with no problem whatsoever. It got a little helter-skelter in the second half, and the Oilers all of a sudden got a couple of glorious scoring chances. Ben Lovejoy made 2 outstanding defensive plays. If not for that, Anaheim is not ahead in this game. So the little things sometimes make a huge impact on the outcome of a hockey game, and Lovejoy in that opening 20 minutes was involved in 2 of those type of plays.
The Ducks bidding for their 3rd straight win on the road here tonight in Edmonton, and they get off to a very fast start. Francois Beauchemin just 45 seconds in on the power play, and that stands up after 20 minutes of play. Anaheim Ducks hockey is brought to you by Big Bear Mountain Resorts. Real snow, real close, real deal. And by CarMax. Start the search for your next car at CarMax. CarMax, start here. Anaheim Ducks hockey is brought to you by Honda, official vehicle of the National Hockey League. The Ducks make their way back out onto the ice at Rexall Place as we get set to begin the second period of play in Edmonton, with Anaheim holding a 1-0 lead. A power play goal by Francois Beauchemin in the opening period is the difference in the hockey game. For more, we go to the Anaheim bench. Assistant coach Brad Lauer standing by with Julie.
Thank you so much, Johnny. Brad, strong start to the first, but a bit of a sloppy end to it. How do you enhance the urgency?
Oh, it's something we addressed. I mean, you're right. We had a really good start. We're moving our feet. We're doing the things we talked about. Then we got a little bit fancy. Too many turnovers. So we got to correct that, get the puck in their end, and go back to work.
Thanks so much, Brad. Good luck in the second.
Thank you.
Back to you, Johnny.
Fancy is not a hockey term that coaches like to use, and it's not usually used glowingly about your hockey club.
Yeah, no, not at all. And especially, you know, the feeling is with Edmonton that if you play crisp and clean and make smart plays, especially in those dangerous areas towards the blue line in your own defensive zone, make sure you get those pucks out. Don't try and be too cute and make those little saucer passes into the middle of the ice. The Ducks did that a little bit too often, I'm sure, for the coaching staff taste. I liked Emerson Edom's game, John, in the opening period, playing with Kessler and with Perry. He showed the energy, he showed that speed. Just keep watching Emerson and you think, when is he going to break through? He's such a big body. He has such explosive speed. He could be just an enormous asset for the Ducks moving forward.
And Brian, you talked about it last night for Cam Fowler. Good ice in Calgary could be good for his game. Edom plays a skating game as well. The ice in Edmonton has always been considered some of the best in the league. This could be a good situation for him here tonight. Oilers control off the faceoff. Payne gets it from Marincin and rims it around. Gibson gets a stick on it. Derek Roy has it, tries to move it into the middle. Yakupov got it over, and the game is tied by Teddy Purcell.
Well, we had heard that Nail Yakupov was starting to come on, and this was just a pretty little feed to Purcell. Slides it right under the armpit of a diving Ben Lovejoy. Fowler tries to cut the boards off, and Yakupov sneaks in behind Kessler, makes a great pass to Purcell, and we get a tie ball game all of a sudden.
Teddy Purcell scored 24 goals and had 65 points 3 seasons ago as a member of the Tampa Bay Lightning. It has not been that kind of a year for him this year. Just his 8th of the season for the former Hockey East Rookie of the Year in his only year at the University of Maine. Here's a chance for the Ducks. And it's hoisted over top of the goal by Maroon. Palmieri walks in front. Now brings it to the forehand, and he misses the net. Trying to jam it in front. Boschema, who's behind the net, and as the puck is cleared, Lindholm's the only man back.
Scrivens was down on his wallet. The top of the net was wide open. The Ducks just couldn't put the puck on net.
Everly brings it back in with Nugent Hopkins. It bounces off of Nugent Hopkins. Everly's backhander is blocked behind the net. Ducks recover possession, and it's Getzlaf who starts the other way. Ryan Getzlaf on the backhand, pitches it to the far corner. Clefbaum angles it out. And Manson sends it right back in as Anaheim finishes changes. Ricard Raquel in on the forecheck. Osterley plays it away from him. Puck bounces off of Manson, so no icing as this goes all the way back. And Brewer fans as he tries to get it up the boards. Cogliano didn't get it by. Puckarinen. Behind the net, it's Matt Hendricks. Knocked to one knee by Ricard Raquel, and Silverberg comes up with it. His pass went off the skate of Cogliano, but he gets it back from Silverberg and scales it into the Edmonton zone. Osterley quickly moves it, but Cogliano disrupts along the near side. Silverberg on the wrong side of Hendricks, who protects with his body. Jordan Osterley feathers it ahead. Raquel had it for a moment before it slashed off his stick. Lovejoy finds an open Jackman up the boards for Ricard Raquel, and he gets it in. Ducks roll changes. Good pace to the beginning of this second period as the Oilers have tied it up. Purcell's 8th of the season from Yakupov and Roy. Just 28 seconds in. So the Ducks score in the first minute of the first, and the Oilers get one back in the first minute of the second.
Yeah, and both pretty little plays. The Edmonton passing play, boy, what a feed that was by Nail Yakupov.
I don't know why that wasn't icing. Mainly because they didn't call it, so play goes on. Back come the Ducks. Lindholm gets a touch at center. Out comes Scrivens to play it away. Marincin bumped in the corner by Corey Perry. Boyd Gordon hit hard as well. Flying in was Emerson Edom.
Yeah, Edom's done a good job on the forecheck in this game. He's used his speed to get in on top, bang some bodies around.
Puck lobbed back to center ice. Careful to get it out on the backhand was Lindholm. The Oilers bring it right back in. Boyd Gordon pitches a backhander to the net. Gibson makes the save. To the line, it's Mark Fane. Over for Marincin. His wrist shot tipped, didn't make it to the net. Fane, the former New Jersey Devil out of Providence College, steps up, keeps it in, and Lindholm tracks it down behind the goal. Nice outlet to Edom. His pass into the middle doesn't make it to Kessler, however. Clefbaum retreats for Edmonton. Lindholm, ever active, intercepts, gets it to Palmieri with speed into the Edmonton zone. His shot off the stick of Scrivens and out of play.
Anaheim has had a couple of chances. Pat Maroon, that puck rolls on him a little bit. He drills it about 2.5 feet over top of the crossbar, and then same sequence, Kyle Palmieri spins. He's thinking top of the net as well. Look at Ben Scrivens. Boy, he is just scrambling, unorthodox, flipping around like a fish out of water inside that goal crease. The Ducks couldn't find the handle on the puck.
Scrivens previously to Edmonton spent time in Toronto and in LA with the Kings. As the AHL goaltender of the year with the Toronto Marlies back in 2012, the Hap Holmes Trophy. Brewer intercepts in the Anaheim zone. Getzlaf looking for a passing lane, and he misses Palmieri with it. Justin Schultz starts back. Schultz plays over 22 minutes a game, leads the Oilers in ice time. Their leading scoring defenseman coming into tonight's action, as he was a year ago. Now in his third year out of the University of Wisconsin. Osterley holds it in at the near point, now forced to retreat back through neutral ice.
Rookie Osterley has not looked out of place in this game. Played a little more than 5 minutes in the opening period. A couple of shots on goal, too.
NHL debut out of Western Michigan University. Jordan Osterley signed as a free agent after 3 years with the Bronco program, which is now coached by Andy Murray, the former head coach of the Los Angeles Kings. Part of the reason I think we're seeing more Western Michigan players come into the league. Murray does a great job preparing his players for the next level.
Oh, does he ever? Osterley, by the way, at Western Michigan is defense partner with Danny DeKeyser. Remember how much in demand DeKeyser was?
He was very ballyhooed.
Yes, unrestricted free agent out of college that the Red Wings were able to convince to sign. He's become a real good player.
Smith-Pelly into the Edmonton zone. Can't get it to the net. Blocked by Oscar Klefbom. The Swede rims it around the boards. Thompson feeds it right back and went behind the goal and just out of the reach of Jackman. Beauchemin keeps it in on the backhand. And Smith-Pelly cycles it along. Thompson back to Francois Beauchemin. Big rebound off the left pad of Scrivens. Hendricks pinned to the boards by Smith-Pelly. Back to the line. Lindholm doesn't have a shooting lane. Tries to take it anyway. Keeps it in. Scrivens gets a stick on it. Smith-Pelly tries to angle it in off the Edmonton netminder. Devontae gets it back, and his pass off the boards handcuffs Lindholm. Pakarinen pressuring Gibson, who shovels it around. Ducks change as Beauchemin lobs it ahead, knocked away from Perry. Luke Gazdic able to nudge it ahead. Beauchemin lost his stick. Gazdic and Edom chase to the corner after it. Lindholm feels the pressure and reverses it away. Perry tips it into the middle of the ice, alleviating pressure to center. Boy, Emerson Edom, good effort there. Keeps the puck alive and gets it deep eventually. Back up the wall it comes to him, and he forces it back. Boyd Gordon reverses, and the Oilers will try the other side. Took a strange bounce off the stanchion. Fowler has it now for Anaheim. Perry can't redirect it in. Now he gets it back, and he's onside with Maroon. Maroon, high slot, shoots. Blocker saves Scrivens.
Yeah, good stop there. Good quick pass from Perry. He snapped that pass.
Kessler trying to get it to Perry. Behind the net, it comes around. Lovejoy finds Maroon. Perry off his skate. Back from Maroon, but Mark Fane got in the way of that. Kept in by Kessler. Here's Maroon in the slot on his backhand. Muscles his way to the front of the net. In comes Kessler. His stick was lifted at the moment of truth. Thrown to the net by Fowler. It didn't get through. Back come the Oil 3-on-2. Derek Roy ahead for Yakupov. Hits the brakes, top of the circle. Takes the shot. Blocked by Lovejoy. Maroon pounces on it. Cuts to the middle. Ahead for Palmieri. Maroon supports, follows up. Knocked off his stick by Osterley. Teddy Purslow has the Edmonton goal, turns it over in the neutral zone. Storming back in is Getzlaf. Puts it through his own feet, looking for a trailer. Still possesses out of the corner, takes the shot, and it's off of Scrivens and out of play. Good action here in Edmonton, where the Oilers have tied it in the second.
Has had a number of pretty good chances in this game. Last shift, a good example of that. Corey Perry kicks it into the middle, and then a quick shot by Maroon, fought off by the blocker of the netminder, and then Edmonton turns it over. Kessler dumps it back in. Nice move here around Marinson. He tries to jam it in. Osterley makes a good defensive play. Taps it away.
Maroon with 3 points in the last 2 games, also 11 hits in the last 2 games, and I think that's a big part of why his offensive game comes around as well. When Pat gets engaged physically, he's far more effective in getting on the score sheet. Doesn't hurt that he's playing with that guy, number 15, Ryan Getzlaf. And he fights off to win a puck battle and move it ahead. And it's Getzlaf into the Edmonton zone. Looking for Maroon, and that pass tipped away straight in the air. Glove save made by Lindholm as he pulls it down. And now he drives up the wall. Getzlaf trying to go far post. And that was intercepted by Marincin. Lobbed back, but Klinkhammer was going for a change, so the Oilers will have to retreat defensively. Hampus Lindholm 4 points in his last 2 games. Remember, he missed the game in between. Throws it across. It's turned over. Pouliot just off the arm of Gibson. A little miscommunication there by the Ducks. Full control in their own zone, and then they give up a grade A scoring chance.
Cute. That was, again, the
fancy.
Yes, again. Fanciness, not a good thing in a tie game.
Cogliano trying to find Manson, trailing the play, joining the rush, and he does all he can do to just chop it back. Josh Manson has played over 20 minutes in each of the 2 games since his recall from Norfolk of the American League. He's out there right now with Brewer defensively. And he steps into the middle to break up an outlet pass. Nugent Hopkins gets it back, though, and here he comes off the post and out of play.
A little bit of space. The Oilers attacking with 3, and the Ducks defense backing in on John Gibson. Gives you an idea of the type of skill that Nugent Hopkins has. Watch this shot. It's a beauty. And it's about 2 inches away from giving Edmonton the lead in this game.
Just about to the halfway mark of the hockey game, tied at 1 in Edmonton. The Oilers striking less than half a minute into the second period to draw even. Shots 13-11 in favor of the Oilers, who are 7 under 500 here at Rexall Place. Klefbom rips it wide off a face-off win. Kakarinen gets it to the net, and a good save by Gibson as Hendricks dispatched a Fowler to get to the rebound. Schultz winds it around the boards. It's chipped over Ryan Hamilton's stick. The former Toronto Maple Leaf trying to dig it away from Smith Kelly, but he puts it back behind the net where Fowler wants to set up the breakout. He's flushed by Hendricks.
Well, this line's been pretty good for Edmonton. You know, a grinding type line, nothing fancy.
Thompson chops it ahead and spins into the Edmonton zone. His shot trickles across the slot, and it's nudged the other way. Kakarinen got hit by Jackman as the Ducks go back to get it. Oshman's pass through the middle off of Nate Thompson, and Scrivens swats it away. Osterley reversing it from the pressure of Emerson Edom. Lindholm on his horse to get it as it trickles between the circles. And Yakupov all over him. He reverses it right to Derek Roy. Roy has a man in front. Yakupov couldn't get it up off his skate to his stick. And Anaheim fortunate there.
You know what? I have been impressed with Derek Roy in this game, John. He made a real nice defensive play on Ryan Kessler in that opening period. It looked like Kessler had inside path to the net. And he made a couple of real nice passes involving Nail Yakupov, as advertised.
Lindholm starts the break, and it's Kessler and Edom the other way. Edom shot well wide. Perry can't corral it off the boards. And here come the Oil. Eric Brewer, a late change off the bench, joins defensively as Purcell curls it down low for Derek Roy. Roy kept to the outside by Brewer. Boy, Yakupov is just always in motion, isn't he, Brian? I mean, those feet never stop moving.
He's always had the powerful stride. It's just always been a question of whether or not he's skating into the right spots at the right time.
Marincin takes it away, and back come the Oil. Nugent Hopkins drops it for Everly. He busts into the Anaheim zone. Jordan Everly in front, looking for Nugent Hopkins. And a back-checking Maroon may have gotten a piece of him.
Edmonton making a push. They're on the attack now, and the Ducks are not. In the first half of the first period, Anaheim was forcing Edmonton to defend all the time. Staples have been returned a little bit here.
Maroon, quick pass to Fowler. He's in full flight. Shot it just wide. Sealed off on the far boards by Palmieri. Maroon battling a couple different Oilers, including Schultz. Can't win the puck. And Everly has it. Jordan Everly, the leading scorer for the Oilers, and he pays the price as Palmieri finishes him. Schultz hands it off, and Klefbom rims it around and in. Changes off the Edmonton bench, and Luke Gazdick can't get it to the net. It went off a skate. Klefbom just keeps it deep for Klinkhammer. Tries to center, but that was denied by Getzlaf. Cogliano hustles to the corner to get to it. Hendricks from behind the net tries to wrap it around on the forehand, but he missed the goal. Schultz activates. The Oilers all over Anaheim right now, and Cogliano smartly just lifts it out of harm's way. Won't go far enough for icing as Oscar Klefbom is back to get it.
Well, they have turned the tables territorially, John.
The fans appreciate it here.
Yeah, they get a nice round of applause from the crowd here, and they're Outworking the Ducks last few shifts.
Boschema steps up and sets up Cogliano. Raquel's shot in and out of the glove of Scrivens. Just like that, Anaheim with a great chance, and Raquel's pass to the middle of the ice went through Boschema. Great recovery by Silverberg, who leads it back the other way. Francois Boschema was still up on the play, and he was denied entry into the Edmonton zone. Now he just hacks it in. It's been a long time between whistles here at Rexall Place. 6:20 to play, second period. An area pass off the boards is offside as Teddy Purcell receives it at the Anaheim stripe. Non-stop action in a tie game.
Rexall Center, Ducks and Oilers tied at 1 apiece at midway through the second period. Emerson, it seems as though there's been a bit of an issue of establishing a forecheck in this period so far. What has been the reason why?
Yeah, I think it first starts with getting shots on net. You know, me and Cass with a great job with Barry getting out of the zone. I just need to hit the net either far pad, try to create a rebound, or anything but starting their breakout like I did. So, more shots on net, just maybe a little bit more physical, and we should be all right.
Thanks so much. Good luck.
Thank you.
Back to you, Johnny.
Emerson Edom kind of singling himself out there. I thought he was maybe a little hard on himself, but
I think he's played well. But the point he makes, when you get opportunities, and especially on wingers, if you're coming down the wing and you shoot the puck wide, it allows the other team to get the puck out of their own zone very quickly, and quite often they can counterattack. And Edmonton does have some high-end talent on that top line, certainly with Everly and Nugent Hopkins, that you've got to be aware of. Taylor Hall, by the way, out of the lineup for the Oilers tonight with a leg injury. Hall in the past has given the Ducks fits. Last year, 7 points for Taylor Hall against Anaheim during the regular season.
Well, those players you just mentioned, Everly, Nugent Hopkins, and Hall, all possess the speed that can give any team trouble. And if you miss the net wide and rim it around and out, and they pick it up in full flight, it will create issues. Yakupov has created issues tonight for Anaheim. He's unable to dig that puck off the boards, and then he has a conversation with Eric Brewer on his way back to the bench. Good forecheck as Edom steamrolls Clefbaum, but the puck around to Everly, and he puts it into the middle of the ice for Derek Roy. Boy, that looked offside. Roy to the corner as play goes on, and Benoit Pouliot feeds it back to the line. Clefbaum dusts it off, his shot deflected on the way and ends up in the near boards. Middle of the ice, it's picked off by Jackman, and he'll send Devontae Smith-Pelly the other way. Smith-Pelly tracks it down as he angled it in off the boards to himself. Lovejoy from a bad angle just throwing it to the net. Smith-Pelly wins the puck behind the goal. Off the boards to Fowler. He'll settle it down across Lovejoy, tees it up, in and out of the glove of Scrivens. Jackman pursues to the corner. Throws it towards the net, off a stick, it skips across. Lovejoy again from a bad angle, just gets it towards the net. And up the near side, Everly able to clear.
A good shift. The Ducks' fourth line. They force the Oilers to play deep. They cycle the puck. They kick it back to the point a couple of times.
Palmieri wins a puck battle behind the net after Lovejoy sent it in, and now Maroon gets it back to the line. Boschman across. Lindholm's shot hit Thompson. Deflected to the corner. Recovered by Maroon. The give and go from Palmieri just out of his reach. Klinkhammer revs it up through the neutral zone, but loses the puck. Boschman wants to stretch it ahead, and that is offside as Palmieri precedes the puck across the blue line. It's a rule. It's in the book. Look it up. Anaheim Ducks hockey is brought to you by Kia. Visit mysocalkia.com to learn more. Everything's even in Edmonton. The game tied at 1. Both teams have 14 shots on goal with just a shade under 4 to go in the second. Is it just me, Brian, or does this feel like a game that's had more than 28 shots on goal through almost 2 periods of play?
Yeah, it does feel that way. And there have been ebbs and flows to this game where one team seems to pen the other guys up in the defensive zone, and then all of a sudden there's a pushback and things move in the opposite direction. It was, John, during that television timeout, I was watching the Anaheim players on the ice, Getzlaf leading the discussion. All 5 players huddling up in front of the goaltender, John Gibson, and talking about what they were going to do on the defensive zone faceoff. And that's something that we saw last night in Calgary that was very noticeable, the extra communication between players.
Boschman able to keep one in at the line. Maroon heading to the bench as he got crunched deep in the zone. Lindholm plays it across. Boschman bounces it ahead. Getzlaf gets the handle and throws it deep. Scrivens thinks better of wandering out to play it. Osterley tried to angle it out, but it didn't come out. On the feet of Marincin. Jabbed loose by Cogliano. Silverberg bumped off the puck by Derek Roy.
Derek Roy has played a very aggressive game.
Yeah, not the biggest guy in the world, but he's sure played a lot bigger tonight, hasn't he?
You know what? And I go back to that defensive play made on Ryan Kessler. Like a dog on a bone. He was just not going to let Kessler go. Very impressive.
Purcell trying to make a pass. That was denied by the stick of Cogliano.
Playing for a contract, too, John.
Raquel brings it in. Tries to get it to the net with Jackman driving the center lane. It was deflected wide. And Roy again down low to help out. Just lobs it out of harm's way. Won't go far enough for icing. Eric Brewer back to get it for the Ducks. 8th game in a Duck sweater for Brewer, and he gives it to Manson, and he thought he had a player changing off the bench, but instead he just iced the puck. You can win a 2015 Honda CR-V. It's all part of Fan Appreciation Night coming up in the next few weeks at Honda Center. And all you have to do to be in the hunt for the car is send us a 15-second video. Tell us why you deserve the car. Go to AnaheimDucks.com/I-want-my-CR-V.
Only 10 home games remaining on the schedule.
That few? Only 10, really?
That's it.
Yeah, I said it earlier this season. I really got to start looking at the schedule. Right off the draw, Clefbaum got it through. And Gibson got the blocker on it. Thompson skips one in. And Scrivens had to be careful with. Smith-Pelly reaching for it. Reels it around on the backhand. Scrivens keeps it moving. Lovejoy activating up the boards, and now he jostles with Hamilton in the corner. Thompson throws it in front. Nothing but blue sweaters there, though. And Hendricks leads it out. Puckarinen into the Anaheim zone. Long wrist shot, easily gloved by John Gibson.
Puckarinen, Euro, a Finnish player who has played, as you mentioned, John, many years in the Finnish league. A little bit of an edge to him. I've been watching him after a lot of plays, and he gets in there and a lot of pushing and shoving. This season of 14 games, he's 3 points, -3. He's not going to light you up offensively.
The Panthers took him in the 7th round in 2011. He never came to terms with them. A recent recall earlier this month by the Oilers. And as you documented in the pregame show, Brian, there have been a lot of changes since these teams last saw one another back in December.
Well, the biggest change, or one of the biggest changes, is the head coach behind the bench taking over for Dallas Eakins, Todd Nelson. And Nelson was promoted from the top minor league club in Oklahoma City. So he's very familiar with a lot of the younger players that the general manager is trying to integrate into this lineup.
Lindholm breaks his stick as he dumps the puck into the Edmonton zone. You see a lot of coaches do that, especially when they have history with younger players. They're going to give a younger player a chance. It's a player they've coached. It's a player they trust. It's a player they know, maybe more than anyone. Here's another one of those younger players, Osterley. As he moves up the boards, he keeps the puck in the Anaheim zone. Lindholm doesn't appreciate his treatment in the corner, and he follows up to clear the zone. Under a minute to go now in the second period, and the Ducks are going to be whistled for an icing with just 45 seconds remaining.
And they are looking a little egg weary here. I was watching Ryan Kessler play down in the defensive zone, and took him a little while to get the engine going. Ducks in back-to-back games this season, 5-4-1 in the second game. And they've been a great back-to-back team in the last couple of seasons, primarily because of the depth that they have. And I've said this many times, the fact that Bruce Boudreau plays 4 lines.
And you know, you can look at the schedule and you can see Edmonton and say, well, this is the last place team in the conference. But it's always tough on the road, and it's always tough on the back end of back-to-backs. There's no easy games in the National Hockey League. And this one's going to be tough for both of these teams as it progresses. Both teams played last night. The Ducks traveled after the win at Calgary. Edmonton was here hosting Minnesota. But fatigue will be a factor for both teams as we work our way into the third period here in Edmonton. We're only 10 seconds from doing that as Getzlaf feeds it out, trying to stretch it ahead for Maroon, but it was broken up by Klefbom. He turns it over at center. Lindholm's pass goes off a skate, and that's going to do it. Teddy Purcell picks it up, and the second period comes to a close.
Yeah, a lack of energy is the way I would describe most of this second period. Anaheim not dangerous on the attack, not on the rush, certainly in the second, the way that they were in the first half of the first. So you chalk that up to leg weariness, a little bit of mental focus, I think, required here in the third period to sharpen things up a little bit.
Well, the Ducks are through 40 minutes of play on the Western Canadian plains of Edmonton. The oasis before you get to the Canadian Rockies. 1-1 after 2 periods of play, the Oilers and Ducks. Anaheim Ducks hockey is brought to you by Honda, official vehicle of the National Hockey League. Anaheim Ducks hockey is brought to you by Honda, official vehicle of the National Hockey League. All square in Edmonton after 2. The Ducks got one in the first. The Oilers get one in the second. And that's where we stand as we get set to begin the third period of play. Here's our Hyundai game summary in case you're just joining us. The Ducks struck 45 seconds into the first period on the power play. Francois Beauchemin with the goal. Teddy Purcell's second goal in the last 3 games tied it less than a half minute into the second. And Andrew Cogliano, just the third player in NHL history to play 600 consecutive games to begin a career, and the first player to do it, Brian, in 51 years. Andy Hebbington, the last one to reach that milestone. He did it in 1964.
We've talked a lot about Cogliano and his commitment to fitness, and how diligent he is, and how he prepares for games. The Ducks, well, they got him right where they want him. The most consecutive one-goal games without a regulation loss in the season, all time. No one's had 31 of them. The Ducks, well, that's where they are so far this regular season. Well, that's a list. Got number 5 on the list. You got to go all the way back into the 40s. That says something about what Anaheim has been able to accomplish this year.
You know, going back to Andrew Cogliano, he was addressing the media before the game, and he talked about the fact that his mother is a fitness instructor as the puck's deflected out of play. And you get the feeling that, you know, Andrew has always conducted himself the way he does. Bruce Boudreau talked about it this morning. He said he does all the right things. He puts the right food in his body. He trains the right way. He gets the right amount of rest. It's just what Andrew does.
He's been a good role model for the younger players, too. It's very commonplace for Cogliano to be leading what trainers refer to as a dynamic stretch before the start of each contest. Probably a smart thing if you're a young player in the NHL and thinking about your career earnings, and to follow a guy like Cogliano, you might be able to extend that career a little bit.
8th NHL season for the Toronto native, who just got a new contract last season from the Ducks, an extension that is in its first year this year. Schultz with a shot from the point, and Gibson steers that aside. Fowler feeds it back up the board. Schultz doesn't give up the line. Emerson Edom blocks his pass, though. And the Ducks will use the opportunity to change. Almost a minute in to this, the third period, tied at 1. And it will be the first period of the game that doesn't produce a goal inside the 60-second mark as Lindholm pitches it off the boards all the way down. Paul Mary beaten to it by Schultz. Jordan Everly supports and reverses it back to him. And Schultz hit hard by Pat Maroon.
Every time I watch Jordan Everly, I am impressed at what a smart hockey player he is. His ability to draw people into situations where he opens up passing lanes for himself.
Everly, a first-round pick for the Oilers, taken back in 2008. Leads his team in points, assists, power play goals, power play assists, power play points. Silverberg setting up Brewer as he came in off the left point. And Scrivens hangs on to that.
Yeah, Eric Brewer, a little shake of the head. A little disappointed because he had the forward momentum. And watch Jakob Silverberg, sees Brewer attacking outside the face-off shot. So he just one-times that, doesn't get it all. But Scrivens does a good job of making sure he's square to Eric Brewer and kind of tucks those elbows into the body.
Each team has had just one power play chance in this game. As Raquel and Hendricks take the draw in the Edmonton zone. Osterley's pass out of the zone came right back in, and now Josh Manson retreats for the Ducks. Manson, whose mother and two younger sisters were on hand in Calgary last night and are here in Edmonton tonight, said it was a very favorable time for him, the Saskatchewan native, to get called up. Alberta Trick gave him a chance not only for his family to see him play, but for him to see his family. The outlets into the middle of the ice. Raquel angles it through the neutral zone. Marincin on a D-to-D, gets it back and revs it up. Slovak native who played in the Olympics last year for his native country. It's caught up ice a little bit as Anaheim sends it back. Nate Thompson picks it off in the middle of the ice. Boy, a big collision there with Klinkhammer, who has to chase his stick. Gibson out to lay the paddle down. And Fowler sets up. Nearly 3 minutes into the third period in Edmonton, tied at 1. Ducks return home after this one. They'll host the Detroit Red Wings on Monday. Lovejoy uses the glass to get it in. Thompson got to it. Jackman supports. Loose puck that Schultz gives chase to. Smith-Pelly has him in his sights. He got a good bump on it. Devontae Smith-Pelly leads the Ducks in hits now. And he goes behind the net as Jackman corrals the puck, backhands it towards the net. Smith-Pelly got it there. Oh, Jackman nearly came up with a loose puck at the far post.
Good stop, really good stop there by the goaltender Scrivens, who read the play and got across with that right leg pass.
Kessler strides into the long lead pass from Silverberg, and he ran into Derek Roy, and Roy got the worst of that. Boschman tried to activate, but it's chipped past him, hinging over to get it. Hampus Lindholm. Boschman under duress, nice pass into the middle of the ice, and Kessler gets it from Edom. Takes a shot that's deflected into the netting, tried to pull it back to his forehand, but Marincin got a stick in the way. You can join the Wild Wingers Kids Club presented by UC Irvine for just $25 this season. And when you do, you'll receive a Wild Wing bobblehead, a calendar, a light-up bracelet, a Ben Lovejoy t-shirt, and much, much more. You can sign up today at wildwingerskidsclub.com.
The combination of Kessler and Perry has not clicked, John. Both players shotless to this point in the game.
That entire line with Emerson Edom has yet to offer a shot on goal in this game. Klinkhammer tracks it down in the Anaheim zone and lays it back for Matt Hendricks. Knocked off his stick. Maroon reaches to try to pull it off the base of the dasher. Puck is frozen underneath Maroon and Hendricks, but you can hear the officials saying play on. It's finally dislodged and it squirts to Hampus Lindholm. Uses the net as a shield, keeps the legs moving and swings it on left wing for Maroon. Couldn't get the handle, but he did a good job to get it into the zone. Nugent Hopkins drops down, loses it to Palmieri. Oh, he tried to wrap it around on the backhand. Scrivens stayed with him.
Another good stop by Scrivens. A butterfly goaltender, and he does a nice job of taking away that bottom of the net.
Pouliot hits Everly in full flight, and his shot misses the net. Around the near boards, knocked down is Raquel. Oilers get it back. Everly curls it to the corner. Pouliot for Nugent Hopkins. Lets it come through to the point. Ferentz with a blast. And that's in the glove of Gibson.
Kyle Palmieri had an opportunity moments ago. Steals the puck away from Nugent Hopkins. Just tries to jam it into the leg pads of the goaltender Scrivens. Ben Scrivens has got those good flexible hips. He gets a wide spread on those feet when he falls down on his knees. Very difficult to move the puck around him.
16 points for Palmieri in his last 23 games, including a 7-shot effort last night in Calgary in a game in which he potted his 12th goal of the season. Brewer chases behind the Anaheim goal. Drags it along on the backhand, trying to jab it past Yakupov. He fails. Derek Roy comes up with a Yakupov, fires, tried to go short side. Gibson denied. Raquel picks it up, protects the puck as he pushes it to center ice. Oilers get it back. Yakupov spins, throws it right through the top of the crease. Back to the line one time. Blast by Klefbom. Punch to the corner by the blocker of Gibson. Well, Gibson got a good read on that. He was way out to make the save. Cogliano digs it free. Perry drops it off for Ricard Raquel into the Edmonton zone. Tries to go outside in. Kept in by Lovejoy at the point. His shot blocked on the way. Cogliano follows up. Perry didn't see it. He was trying to retreat defensively. Fowler holds it in.
And you see Bruce Boudreau tinkering with his lines.
Yep.
It's Andrew Cogliano out there with Corey Perry and Ricard Raquel that time. And Boudreau, I'm sure, knows he needs to find a way to get or help Corey Perry get untrapped.
It's a configuration I don't believe we've seen before. 13:35 to go in the game, and Edmonton tied at 1. Close checking affair as Fowler sweeps it up the boards. Pushed ahead, Jackman finds Nate Thompson. Thompson stutter steps and then is sealed off by Andrew Ferentz, a 15-year veteran. Ferentz isn't the biggest guy in the world, Brian, but he plays big. He's always been a hitter.
He's a smart player, too. You know, he gets pretty good angles on people. Doesn't shoot the puck particularly well.
The Edmonton captain, Ferentz, but he turns it over into the high slot. Lindholm's shot is gloved by Scrivens, and Hampus looks to the heavens.
Hit him right in the left hand. And Scrivens and Lindholm both know it.
Ben Scrivens keeping the game tied moments ago on Hampus Lindholm. The pass comes right through the slot, and Lindholm is the recipient. Casey got to bring a tear to your eye. Scrivens stays on his feet.
Well, not only that, look where he's standing. A good foot and a half, 2 feet out in front of the goal crease. So, you know, anytime a goaltender comes firing outside the goal crease like that, he's taking a little bit of a risk that the backdoor options are all taken care of, which, frankly, if you're the goaltender for the Edmonton Oilers, that's going to be a bit of a risk.
There's only been 2 power plays in this game, 1 for each team, and if you're the Ducks, that's good news. Because Edmonton in 5-on-5 play this season is minus 52. Clearly, when you're out of the playoffs, as is the case here in Edmonton for what is the 9th straight season, the numbers aren't going to be kind to you, but those are really not kind numbers.
That is amazing when you think about that. 9 straight years. Yeah. You talk about a fan base whose loyalty has really been tested.
Gibson punching that shot straight up in the air, and Pointhammer finds it first. Swats it back around the boards, and the chase is on. Josh Manson moves it along, but he gets hit by Hendricks. And a bunch of players go down. Boyd Gordon holds the point. Across for Fane, and that's blocked by Brewer.
Contact.
Gibson knocked back into the net there as he was hit by Matt Hendricks. Hendricks has just been a bull in a china shop on this shift as he's been knocking players all over the place.
He's a very physical guy, Matt Hendricks. When he is on his game, that's what he has to do in order to be successful.
Hendricks came here from the Nashville Predators prior to that. Member of the Washington Capitals. Pouliot looking for a trailer coming late. It was Schultz, but it's off his skate, and Lovejoy pokes it away. He and Maroon into the Edmonton zone. Maroon got it over for Palmieri, just a smidge behind him. Off Getzlaf's skate, kept alive by Maroon. Getzlaf, he had Palmieri alone in front, but he couldn't slide it through.
Yeah, good defensive play by Schultz there. Took away that passing lane from Getzlaf.
The cycle continues. Maroon to the line, and losing it in his skates is Lovejoy. Fowler, with that great skating ability, able to recover it. Ducks onside as he gets it to the captain. Getzlaf backhands it across off the boards. Palmieri. His shot off the skate of Klefbom. Again, activating his Fowler. Keeps it alive behind the net. It went through Maroon. Right to Palmieri, and he tried to return the favor, but Derek Roy took it away. Off to the races. Up the near wing is Teddy Purcell. Getzlaf will take him in behind the goal, pumps him, and the loose puck tapped away by the captain. Up the boards, kept in by the Oilers. Lovejoy to one knee to keep it in front of him, and now Fowler for Perry. Perry fresh off the bench, feeds it across. Getzlaf sends it in. And they're going to rule he didn't have the red line, so it's icing.
Correct call. Ryan Getzlaf needed another 3 feet. Here's the contact with John Gibson and Hendricks. And those are tough ones for the Ducks to watch because, boy, they've been called very consistently against Corey Perry in particular this season whenever he makes contact with netminders.
I know it sounds like sour grapes, but the Ducks seemingly getting the same treatment they used to get. Remember back in 07, 08 when they were the big bad Ducks? Seemed like every night Anaheim would be shorthanded more than their opponents. It's definitely been the case the last 4 or 5 games. Anaheim has had to work hard to get power play opportunities. Lovejoy going to be called for icing here. And another draw comes back into the Anaheim zone. Stay with us after the game. As always, it's Ducks Live, brought to you by Mazda. I think Getzlaf's talking about that previous icing call to the officials. Can't be sure as he's talking to the referee, not the linesman.
Does not look very pleased right now. And I think he's more likely talking about the goalie interference, John. He's talking to the referee.
Smart play. Getzlaf goes forward with the faceoff, and Anaheim immediately heads to the bench for wholesale changes on the fly. Puckarinen tips it to the side of the Anaheim net. Gibson sends it around the boards. Boschmer rolls it back into Edmonton ice, and it's tracked down by Andrew Ference. King Clancy Trophy winner a year ago, Ference. Moves it around. Lindholm sends it right back in. We're nearly halfway through the third period as Raquel collides hard with Ference, and he got the worst of that. Puckarinen into the Anaheim zone, gives it up, and a block by Lindholm comes back. Boy, nice save by Gibson. As off the block, it came right back to Osterley, the defenseman who was up on the play. And Jordan Osterley has it again back in the Edmonton zone. Good skater, brings it to center and chips it in as he pays the price. Manson rims it hard around quickly to Thompson. Finally able to clear the zone as Klefbom had pushed up the wall on him.
You know, I've been impressed with young Oscar Klefbom in tonight's game, John. He's been in the right spot an awful lot.
Good read by Thompson in the neutral zone as he knocks the pass away. Manson ahead to Jackman, and he rolls it slowly in. Thompson pursues. Klefbom beat him to it. Jackman follows up. Around the boards, Lovejoy all the way to the hash mark to keep it in. Looking for Jackman was Thompson. He was knocked off balance, though. And Nail Yakupov winds it up.
Derek Rory got away with a little shot from behind.
Now it's Fowler with space. On the wing, his defensive partner, Lovejoy, throws it to the net. And a glove save for Scrivens. We will step aside over halfway through the third period in Edmonton. The Ducks and Oilers knotted at one apiece. All rights to this broadcast are reserved, and any rebroadcast, recording, retransmission, telecommunication to the public, or other unauthorized use of this broadcast without the express written permission of the Anaheim Ducks is prohibited.
Well, the best player, in my mind, on the ice tonight for Anaheim has once again been the young defenseman, Hampus Lindholm. We talked about Bruce Boudreau shuffling up the lines again, John. Now a little bit more speed. Playing with Ryan Kessler. He's got Edom and Silverberg, so we're in full scramble mode now with this lineup.
The lottery balls are in the air. You know, it's a small sample size, but you mentioned Lindholm. He's been out of the Anaheim lineup 3 times this season. The Ducks are 0-3 in those games and have given up 16 goals in those 3 losses. I talked to Bruce this morning about it, and I said, obviously getting Hampus back in the lineup is good for your team, but it also settled your D pairings for last night's contest in Calgary. And he agreed. He said, you know, I was able to put Fowler and Lovejoy back together. Hampus and Francois played together. They are all much more comfortable that way. Good wraparound attempt by Edom, and it's Lindholm who gets to the rebound. From behind the net, Hampus, little handcuffed. He was going to bring it to the near side, and Edom was there. So he gets tangled behind the Edmonton goal and now tries to hustle back into the play as the Oilers are able to clear the zone. Everly bumped by Getzlaf, who steps up on him, forcing him to the corner. He's still got the puck, however. Schultz across, one-timer tipped over top of the net as Pouliot pursues. Ferentz and Schultz are paired together now at the blue line for Todd Nelson's Edmonton Oilers. Maroon ahead for Getzlaf, and into the middle of the ice he finds Lindholm. Campus at the end of the shift, but he's not going to be able to change. Oh, he will be able to. Maroon on a good effort nullifies it would be icing.
Keep play there by Pat Maroon. Not the swiftest skater in the Ducks lineup, but to tell you what, he made a great play there.
Fowler under some serious duress, able to make a play, and now Palmieri ahead to Getzlaf. Joined by Fowler, who winds and fires. Scrivens trying to find it. Score! It was in his equipment. Getzlaf comes in and jabs it home. Or was it Palmieri?
They don't much care at this point.
Scrivens says, I had it on my pad.
Yeah, he's saying it was covered. If it was covered, it wasn't covered for long. And it wasn't covered particularly well. Ducks on the rush. We haven't seen this a lot, John. I was saying that they're hoping that the D would get more involved. Fowler picks a great spot. It's a 3-on-2. There's the shot. It's underneath Scrivens. Little poke by Getzlaf. It goes off the skate of the defender into the back of the net. I think it goes off the foot of Justin Schultz and has enough to just creep over the line with great angle here. There it is, off the skate, over the line. The Ducks on the rush get the go-ahead goal.
And it was Fowler who joined that rush. Getzlaf will get the goal. Fowler will get the assist. It's 2-1, and now it's up to Gibson and the Ducks to hold that lead. Yakupov brushes it back to the line. Klefbom, middle of the ice, lets it go, and that one hit Derek Roy. Raquel up with it. Long way to go. 6:45 left. As Anaheim has their second lead of the night, it's 2-1. 19th of the season for Getzlaf.
To number 21, Kyle Palmieri. Time 4 minutes 47 seconds.
Back come the Oil, and a good save by Gibson off the wing. An awful lot on that shot there from Puckarinen, and the Ducks able to clear. Well, they don't give an assist to Cam Fowler, who took the shot. That's interesting to me. They'll change that. They only gave an assist to Palmieri. But again, as you mentioned, Brian, the Ducks don't much care. They'll worry about all that stuff later.
Yeah, and now they want to get back to that grind game. They want to keep pucks down here.
Whoa. That was a funny-looking play, and Scrivens just scoops it up. His defenseman fell in the corner and inadvertently put it right back on net. I should say Matt Hendricks, a little frustrated with himself as he returns to the Edmonton bench.
You know, Ryan Getzlaf just kept the legs moving. Again, it's all about that drive down the middle of the ice. So it worked for Anaheim last night. I think Scrivens arguing his case with the referee, but a little bit too late for that.
Face-off to his left with an even 6 minutes remaining in the game. Fane behind the net, pressured by Emerson Edom. And the outlet pass tipped away by Silverberg. Ducks recover, and Edom storms into the Edmonton zone. Keeps it deep. Marincin forced to play it around, and Everly nudges it ahead. Here's Nugent Hopkins, and he's in full flight as he rolls it in on goal. Gibson will cover it up. Ryan Getzlaf's second goal in as many nights has given the Ducks the lead in Edmonton. Play of the game right now. Fowler joins the rush. Getzlaf goes to the net. Scrivens thought he covered it. The Ducks have the lead.
You know, it is interesting watching that. Ben Scrivens never had that puck covered. And a lot of times, the referee's looking at the body language of the goaltender to see if he looks convincing that he has the puck covered. He never looked convincing there, that's for sure.
Kessler battles the puck back. And a penalty coming up to Nate Thompson. He got the stick in on Klefbom. He goes down, and the Oilers are going to get another power play chance. Pouliot drives to the corner, centers, just wide, and finally touched up by Kessler. Boy, Nugent Hopkins went hard to the net there. Why wouldn't you? You know a penalty is forthcoming. Thompson's going to take a seat.
Well, here's a look at it. You see him just kind of force Klefbom to lose the edge. Catches the right leg. I don't know if it was the trip that forced Klefbom for that right skate to lose the edge, or it was just the way he was kind of leaning and skating. But the young Edmonton blue liner gets the call. And boy, what an opportunity here for Edmonton. They have not threatened John Gibson in some time, but big power play chance upcoming.
Their second of the night. Eberle behind the back for Schultz. Middle of the ice, takes a shot blocked by Kessler, but Nugent-Hopkins keeps it in. Back across, Eberle trying to put it on a tee for Schultz. They'll play catch. Jordan Eberle puts it off the side of the net. Pouliot put it right through the crease. Fowler couldn't clear. Pouliot takes it away. Lovejoy with a good play, finds it in his feet.
Quickness, it's all about the quickness of Lovejoy there. 3 quick steps, he gets his stick into a lane, comes up with the steal and the clear.
Speed on the power play. Pouliot moves it out to Eberle. They're set up again. Purcell to the far circle, trying to clear room for Nugent-Hopkins, who just missed. Comes around, Eberle holds it in.
Justin Schultz sliding down off of that blue line, so dangerous. Got a real knack for doing it. It's a good read on what people are looking at away from the puck.
Purcell hands it off. Nugent-Hopkins right on the doorstep for Pouliot, smothered by Gibson. 51 seconds left in the power play. I beg your pardon.
Purcell exchanging how-do-you-dos with Jakob Silfverberg at the end of this. The Ducks, the penalty kill, I thought really got them going last night in Calgary, John. So a lot of confidence right now on this Anaheim penalty killing unit. The communication of Cogliano and Silfverberg as they get back to the bench, it's immediate. Coaches love to see that.
Face off to the left of Gibson. 23 saves to his credit so far. Schultz across the top. Well, gives it to Puckarina. His shot got through. Pad save made by Gibson, and the rebound swept away off the boards by Getzlaf. Schultz back to get it. He's been out the entire power play. And he'll carry the mail to center. Drops it off. Yakupov on the off wing with speed. Fires. Save Gibson. Fat rebound. Sent wide by Yakupov. And pulled off the boards by the Ducks, who will carefully clear as Boschman does the honors. 10 seconds left in the power play.
Well, we have seen the step that Nail Yakupov has taken. We've been hearing about it, John, but quite honestly, this is the first time that we have seen it firsthand in games involving the Oilers and the Ducks.
Thompson steps right out of the box and steals the puck. Here's Cogliano in on a break. Tries to go backhand, has it slashed away, and tracks it down. Back for Lovejoy. Perry curls out of the corner. Open is Lovejoy. Across now for Fowler. Keeps it on the dasher. Thompson down low. Back for Perry. Try to play it off the back of the net. It's in his feet. Keeps it alive. Cogliano. Osterley able to clear it. Lovejoy feeds it right back in. We'll keep an eye now on Ben Scrivens. I beg your pardon. 2:40 to go in the game. We'll see if Todd Nelson chooses to pull his netminder for the extra attacker. 2-1 Ducks. And time's a wasting for the Oilers. They have to work from deep in their own zone, and they're going to be called for icing here.
What an opportunity moments ago for Andrew Cogliano. Nate Thompson had just jumped out of the box, and he strips the puck away, and away goes Andrew Cogliano on a breakaway. Watch the defensive play, however. Outstanding. A little stick check there. Takes the puck off the stick of Andrew Cogliano. That was the young rookie Clefbaum again. He's been good.
I seem to remember saying that last time we were in here as well, back in December. Now it's Osterley in his NHL debut, a native of Dearborn Heights, Michigan. And the coaching staff showing a lot of confidence in him as he's out there late in a one-goal game. He lobs it into the Anaheim zone. Kessler hacks it out of harm's way. Nugent-Hopkins slides it over. The Oils denied the line on a nice defensive play, and then Emerson Edom gets it back. Scrivens still in the net as the stretch pass is deflected right to him. He takes it on one hop and settles it down for Mark Fane. Minute 45 left, and Scrivens starts to sneak out of the goal crease. The Oil get it deep the other way, but they put it in the net over the high glass. I think it went off an Anaheim stick. Let's see where this faceoff's going to go.
Francois Beauchemin immediately went to the linesman and said that that puck was deflected outside of the blue line. If the deflection had happened inside the blue line, potentially the faceoff could have come all the way deep inside Anaheim territory if Beauchemin's stick was involved in the play.
Scrivens is all the way to the top of the circles, but now he retreats because Anaheim wins the draw. Getzlaf churns up the wall into the Edmonton zone. Pouliot comes back with it and then lays it across for Justin Schultz. Under a minute and a half to play now, and here comes Scrivens out of the net again. Chipped in by Pouliot. There he goes. Sixth attacker on as Ryan Hamilton comes over the boards. The net is empty at the other end of the ice. And the puck into the middle of the ice. It comes across the blue line, so Beauchemin can be careful with it. He'll lay it back for Lindholm. He'll fire it the length of the ice, tipped at center, so no icing as it goes wide.
Anaheim a little bit fortunate there. I don't think Pat Maroon was on the other side of center. That could have been icing.
And now the Oilers turn it over with under a minute to play. Beauchemin trying to stretch it up the wall. Can't get it to Getzlaf, but it comes back to Perry. He finds Fowler. He'll get it to center red this time. Never mind the empty net. He just rims it hard around and in. 40 seconds left in the game as Schultz tries to wind it up from out of the Edmonton zone. Derek Roy pushes it ahead and Purcell sends it in. Fowler looks over his shoulder. Keeps it on the glass. Perry digs it free. Purcell held it in to the front of the net. It skips away. Yakupov turned away by Gibson. Kessler off the glass clears the zone. 20 seconds left. Osterley out there again, and here comes to Yakupov. A breakdown gives it over, and Hamilton can't get the shot away. It's Lovejoy with another great defensive play. Puck deflected over the glass with 7.8 left. Lovejoy has done it a number of times tonight. None bigger than that one right there.
The third time tonight that Ben Lovejoy has come to the rescue. Boy, it was a breakdown for the Ducks defensively there. Two Edmonton Oilers behind them. John Gibson shows his athleticism to try and keep that puck out of the net. Lovejoy's made 3 plays defensively in this game that ultimately could decide it and give Anaheim the 2 points tonight.
And if it were to be the case, it would be yet another 1-goal win for Anaheim. We showed you the NHL record for not losing in regulation in a 1-goal game. Anaheim already has that. And there's where they rank this season in 1-goal games, period. They have officially given an assist now to Cam Fowler on the go-ahead goal. That makes Fowler now 4th on the all-time Anaheim assist chart for defensemen. He passes Chris Pronger on that list. He's 23 years of age. Cam Fowler becoming one of the top scorers on the Anaheim blue line all time. They'll drop it on the dot to the left of John Gibson.
It should be a great face-off battle. Boyd Gordon is the Oilers' best. It's Kessler against Boyd Gordon for possession.
Gordon, every year, a top 10 guy in the face-off circle. They tie one another up, and Lovejoy takes it to the corner. He's just going to try to freeze it there to escape. He gets hit hard. The puck squirts to the side of the net, and the horn sounds. Rather fitting, Brian, that at the end of the game, Ben Lovejoy would go to the corner, eat the puck, take a hit to make a play that would result in Anaheim getting the win, and that's just part of the reason he is tonight's Land Rover player of the game.
Yeah, I mean, they won this game tonight because they made a couple of key defensive plays at the right time. This was a gutty, gritty game for the Ducks. It wasn't pretty. It wasn't like last night where they were up on the rush and dangerous on the attack. Tonight they had to find a way to win this game differently. Nothing came easy. It took kind of a strange play where Ryan Getzlaf was able to poke a partially covered puck behind Ben Scrivens to keep things rolling here for the Ducks, who all of a sudden have won 2 in a row.
They've won 3 in a row on the road. 26 saves for John Gibson. And Anaheim goes over the 80-point threshold by virtue of a 2-1 win tonight here in Edmonton over the Oilers. That's our final score, but we're not done. Stay with us. Much more.